Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Good morning to you. Welcome to another beautiful day. Of course, it's a lovely Monday morning right here in the city of Lagos where we're broadcasting from. I am Moses Humphrey. Welcome aboard VOP this morning, of course.
Okay. All right, so I'm their side chick this morning. Hey, blessed am I among men. So I just borrowed the position this morning. My name is Precious A. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, it's a beautiful Monday morning, the 22nd day in the month of July 2024, and we bid you welcome to VOP this morning. David Edwin here saying, how was your weekend? And it's a beautiful Monday morning, and we are super excited to be here to give you all of the amazing information that you would need on a Monday morning like today. But of course, you know how we do it. You have to join this conversation. How best do you do that? Go straight to our YouTube page on the comment section. Let your voice be heard. And of course, drop those comments. And we definitely will be reading those comments right here on the show. Well, so much to serve you this beautiful morning. Let's start it off.
Well, so much to serve indeed. Now, for those that are wondering why we're having traffic in Lagos today, some parts of Lagos, well, the Lagos State government did announce that there will be a 90-day closure on the Odoyalaro Bridge. One would affect traffic from Ojota all the way to Korodu Road to Maryland, and then the alternative routes have been provided. So prepare your mind. It's going to be for 90 days. The closure started today, and I actually wonder why they started that one on a Monday morning. Maybe a different day would have been better, but hey. It is what it is.
You have to.
I don't think a different day makes the traffic different. Yeah, I understand the fact that traffic is always a bit more intense on Mondays. Mondays are usually crazy days. So thank you. So over the weekend, a lot of things started coming up. During the run of the week, back in the US, a lot of pressure was mounted on Joe Biden to step down because they thought, I think it was because of, he started with a flop from his debate.
The flop,
and then
his health concerns.
Exactly, his health concerns, his age, even though he tried to claim that I'm only 3 years younger than, I'll be 3 years older than Trump, but it didn't just look like he played well with him.
Yeah.
And then he finally bowed out and said, okay, catch me, I need to do it again.
He had to. I think the pressure was so much that he just had to, make that decision in the interest of the party, of course.
Yes, but you know that there were also accusations that he was being pressured more by Obama and even Kamala Harris himself. So he actually thinks that they're traitors and betrayers, that why do you betray me to step down? But now there is even more fear. If the Democrats can actually win the election with a Kamala Harris battling Trump.
Kamala Harris, though Trump endorsed her, she will still have to go through the approval.
Though Biden endorsed her, you mean? Because Trump said he will floor her, like she's an easy beat.
I don't think so. The Kamala Harris I know will not be floored by Trump, actually. I think Trump will have I mean, Trump is already jittering.
So you think he's initial gra-gra?
He's already insulting her. He's already calling her names.
Well, you should know Trump has that in his card. I mean,
no, all she has to do really is to get under his skin, and Trump will, say words. And then, let's not forget, it's America. The race card might be thrown up. And if that is thrown up, that will play against Trump.
But Camilla herself hasn't also had it very good with the black community, because the black community isn't particularly very happy with her. They think that she's been a bit docile and dormant all these years. The only time she even mentioned something that looked like it was close to, engaging the black community was just recently. And they feel like, okay, now you need us, come, we'll deal with you. That kind of thing. So if it was someone who was active, maybe that's why people are now calling for Michelle Obama to rather, step in and but do you even see Michelle Obama? Perhaps if they bring back Hillary Clinton?
No, I don't see Michelle Obama.
I don't.
Do you think America is ready for its first female president and a black president at that?
Personally, I don't think America is ready for its first black female president. I don't think America is ripe for that.
I don't think they are.
In as much as they talk about being a liberal democracy, I don't think they are ripe for that. But
we also have to x-ray the downside or the other side of what Trump's ticket will be.
With the attempted assassination of Trump, Trump's, ratings went up.
Very high.
That's a plus.
But there are lots of loopholes to that attempted, murder already.
A lot of what?
Loopholes. Like they're beginning to finger some stuff that he looks like he's in the know already about that.
Personally, I feel that same way.
I have that bias too. Thank you.
I'll keep my thoughts to myself.
Another beautiful part of this conversation is the fact that this whole trouble for Biden started from that debate. And I dare say, if all of this can start from a debate, I wouldn't want to call it an ordinary debate.
No, try Nigeria. Don't bring it in a Nigeria situation.
I was going to do that.
I beg, don't bring that in.
Because if you look at it from that point, it only states the fact that the people are consistently aware of the fact that this man is not fit from that debate.
The question that should be asked is, do we hold debates in Nigeria when campaigns are on? Do we hold debates? And when candidates go to campaign grounds, what do they talk about? What do we campaign on? We campaign on fixing of roads. We campaign on providing water.
Honorable of the mic. Honorable of the mic. Let's move on with this show, please, because you don't want to go to that direction.
We campaign on policies. Abortion bill, gun laws.
Why are you going too far now?
Oh, well.
We've not even had lights. All right, thank you.
Oh, well then. Now let's get you into the conversation for today. Before we go into the papers, later on the show today, we'll be looking at the allegation on Dangote refineries producing lesser than is required for the Nigerian society. We'll talk about that one in the course of the program. And
Peter Obi's team reveals shocking plan of Tinubu to arrest Obi ahead of August 1 protest.
Oh yes,
there are already accusations on ground anyway.
These are the conversations we'll focus on this morning. Now we have a gentleman that will be coming on board to let us into their own view. In the meantime, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the papers proper.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city,
rights.
The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space. Exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people. and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
You're welcome back. It's still Voice of People Television, and of course, this is VOP This Morning, and we're going straight to the newspapers this morning. Joining us to analyze the front pages of the newspaper this morning is Mr. Aki Fatunke. He's an economist and communication consultant. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Fatunke. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to say I like the twinkle in your eyes.
Oh,
and the smile on your lips.
Twinkle, twinkle,
and
little
something
star.
tells me it's going to be a good conversation.
Twinkle, twinkle, little. I hope we still have stars in the firmament.
Yes, we
Nigeria.
do. Yes, we do. All right, let's go straight to the newspapers. We'll begin with the Daily Independent with a very interesting, banner headline this morning. I couldn't help, laughing over this headline. So the banner headline there reads, "Wound-licking Labour dumps fight to reverse electricity tariff hike." Yes, that's it. And then other headlines there reads, "Stakeholders see banks losing battle to tame fraud inside abuse. Our refinery is getting repeated orders from abroad." This is according to Dangote. High Chief Dr. Government Owaizidi. Okay, that's more of a private issue there. So that's about it from the front page of the Daily Independent this morning. Mr. Fatunke, would you like to chime in on any of this?
Yes, on the main headline about labor.
The wound-licking labor. They said.
I'm careful to use that adjective, but I think what is leaking is the whole firmament. We are talking about talking little start just now. The whole firmament about the Nigerian body politics and economy and community are leaking at all sides.
But do you think the Labour was fair to have dumped the fight against electricity tariff hike?
No.
Which is biting very hard, increased by 330%, whereas their the wage, minimum wage, was only increased by over 100%. Perhaps that's why they give them the head.
I want to be very careful to come to that conclusion. It may have shown in there. I will be surprised if a functional labor will not look at a whole holistic aspect, because the electricity tariff that we are talking about, well, basically it's not only labor that is complaining. I will be personally surprised if they will let down their gauntlet on that score, because whatever it is, the minimum wage that states will eventually get to, I hope, I believe that everybody will be looking at the ceiling of 70,000, including SMEs, including households. It's going to affect them.
So
anyway,
with this fight dumping now, what do you think this will portend for Nigerians going forward?
I cannot see how this is going to be done. In any case, so let's come to brass tacks here. I'm not sure that labor is supposed to be our Umutu Sizwe, the armed wing of the ANC that we have in South Africa. So labor have gone to try to do whatever it is that they want to do. I think the battle is ours collectively as Nigerians, as NGOs, as households. And we also have the power of our votes at critical times. Hopefully we'll be getting more into elections even before the real elections, the big elephant in the room, whether it's local government, whether it's at staged elections at some national levels,
Now,
whether it's going to be.
Let me interrupt you there. Let me just ask: do you think the 3-year cycle now is any consolation, really, as against 5 years?
5 years.
I think so.
You think it's a consolation?
I think so. Even if it is 4 years, anything less than 5 years is some kind of consolation. But you know, the consolation will now then come if you can live the promise. Is Nigeria capable of living that promise? When it comes to labor issues, I have had to follow labor issues. I've been, participating over time. Red herrings are thrown in, political statements are made to keep the boys and the girls quiet. Then when the come becomes, like Keon Badwe would have said, and then you'll be found wanting.
So
I think it's a consolation. Okay. It's a good start.
Okay.
What exactly does the statute say? I mean, in a period of 5 and all that. So if the state feels that the workers have been, quote and unquote, cheated out of their normal, and I said, look, you know what's going to happen? Take this for now, and I begin to put machinery in motion like yesterday to ensure that within the 3-year cycle, hopefully we won't have a change in government that will now then come and say, look, I want to revert.
So you know the reason why this electricity hike thing is even a thing is because we remember the National Assembly, especially the House of Rep, telling the National Electricity Regulation Commission not to go ahead with the increment. But they still did. And the fact that this is telling hardly on businesses. There are businesses whose perhaps electricity tariff used to be as much as just 1 million naira per month. They now pay over 3.3 million naira monthly. And this in turn will, of course, the burden will be passed on consumers. Not, of course, biting harder on the populace that are already complaining. So that's the issue. How then would the government perhaps would have intended for Nigerians to cope with the tariff? It's not just a small increment, over 300%. That's a big deal for a country with low purchasing power.
On one hand, I hear you so loud and clear.
Like you're Tinubu, so you can hear me. You do something about it.
It's true. It's true. I hear you loud and clear. But you see, as an entrepreneur, or as an owner of business, I can only give what I have. If over the years I have not invested, I cannot be thinking of reaping from a non-investment to now begin to now want to give you something now.
So do we now tax people who don't have? Because this is like taxing people who barely have a job. You've not created jobs for them, but you're taxing them.
I am careful to say to you that like a father, you can put your coloration to it. Like a father that has not been responsible over time, has not saved for the rainy day, has not invested, has eaten his bread, not cake now, has eaten his bread before baking over time. Now it comes like a prodigal to you and says, look, this is what I have. Now, 2 options. You want to throw him out, you want to kill him. Even if you did that, does that solve or resolve any problem? So on one hand, what I see is that sector has been greatly mismanaged over time. 16 years plus. So we are now at the throes of wanting to now then rejig, just like oil and gas. We are trying to now rejig, only for us to now then find out that, hey, the grass is going to suffer. But I also hear you that when a father comes back home, dejected, prodigal, he's sober. And that soberness is not what we are, I guess we are seeing. We are not seeing that soberness, whereas you and I, maybe Moses and David are really facing the brunt.
Why did you remove me from the equation?
Because I see a lot of squint and light in your life.
Okay, let's move away from this paper. I would have loved you to react to something, but because of time, let me lump it with the headline from the Punch newspaper. The The bold display there by Tom Polo of Tantita, thanking the president for the appointment of Didi Esther Wilson-Jack as the head of the civil service of the Federation. A political statement, some would say, a political act. Let's not forget, when the president said he wasn't intending to celebrate his birthday, Tom Polo of Tantita went ahead, splashed it all over the papers, all over different papers actually, celebrating the president. Oh well, that can also be found on the Punch newspaper. Yes, that's it, from the Guardian or the Daily Independent.
The Daily Independent.
That's it, from the Daily Independent. It's also on the Punch. Okay, so this is from the Punch newspaper actually. Now, on top of, right beside the nameplate, inferior fuel, FG demands Dangote Refinery's diesel report, orders new test. I would think there are a lot of other pressing issues in Nigeria, as against thanking the president for the appointment of Esther Wilson-Jack, but that took the cover pages. That took the cover page. Am I a hater?
I wanted to say that. As I say,
All right then.
Not reading somebody's tease.
Well, let's move away. You may respond to that if you feel the need to. But let's go to the Guardian newspaper now. There's a very bold headline there. Economy faces threats with 1.4 million BPD crude output. Subriders, industry experts point to dark spots, make recommendations. We can produce 2 million BPD, NNPC. Nigeria needs energy minister, not president, to drive industry. Agbakoba. NUPRC concluding divestment to boost output. Komalafe. Now, these are headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. All right, now, right beside that headline, Zenith Bank retains top spot as #1 bank in Tier 1 capital. U.S. election, why Biden withdrew from presidential race. Three civilians, inspector, 2 assailants killed as gunmen attack police team in Aba. Our refinery having repeated orders from abroad. Dangote. Navy, Nemaso disagree over proposed law on maritime security. All right, and there you have a pictorial of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, right there. So these are the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. Which tickles your fancy?
The Punch, please let me get back to it.
Going back to the Punch, that's okay.
The Punch. Moses, my challenge is that we are not matured, whether from the home front, from the politics, from community to governance.
Which are you reacting to?
I will not do what Ntompolo has done. It's absolutely unnecessary. Okay, but then, what do I know? And Pura, and I also see a situation where now we are talking about Ntompolo. It could have been somebody from Southwest. It could have been somebody from Southeast. It could have been somebody from North. Then you come and do a wrap round and begin to...
You don't think it speaks to the fact that it's a non-Southwesterner that has been appointed, saying that a Southwesterner just left that position?
I repeat that it is puerile. It does not help the person that has been appointed, who is going into the shaky waters of civil service with all the banana peels, thanking Mr. President for what? What exactly has Mr. President done that is a plus for the South-South?
But people are already accusing this president of nepotism, like they did accuse Buhari. So if he goes out of his way to employ someone, or appoint someone who's not within his, immediate environment, shouldn't it be a plus?
Okay, so and the plus is now going to in front of newspapers to be doing.
He paid his money.
I think that is wasteful. I think it's not helpful, and it's not even helpful. We must get out of this. Well, Punch is going to make their money from there, but I will not even read the whole thing. It tells you how we found ourselves in dungeon. Going back to much more serious matters, I dare say, will be a statement credited to Mr. Olisa Agbakoba.
Oh, yes, from the Vanguard, yes.
My mind. And that
we need a minister to drive energy, a minister in the energy sector to drive the industry.
Absolute truism. President Bola Tinubu, like perhaps others before him, has no business, and I'm saying it with no sense of responsibility, being the Minister of Oil and Gas. Not make sense. It's a political statement that started, since the time of Obasanjo, and now we have found ourselves in deep hole. So Mr. Agbakoba is right. He speaks my mind as a technocrat who has worked in that industry, and as a background that I think we should be giving to future generations. That morass should stop. Pure and simple. Kudos to Mr. Agbakoba. He didn't make a political statement. Quite a number of other things I see here, political jigsawing, but he spoke straight truth to power, and that is exactly my take. The other stories that you've mentioned will be neither here or there, Dangote or no Dangote testing.
Well, we'll get into that one in the course of time.
Yes, part of our conversation. All right, let's just get to another paper quickly, and we'll be looking at the Guardian newspaper, where the banner headline here reads, MPC, costly policy trade-off as FX crisis, minimum wage, stir fresh challenge. Lagos government issues contravention notice to Aja property owners. Money supply to dip by 20 trillion naira as banks offload dormant account proceeds. And then Democrats shop for new candidates as Biden pulls out of re-election race. Proposed bill stirs fresh controversy in ICT sector. Hold governors' orders to account for 2023 electoral offenses. Court orders INEC. Now, above that banner headline there, you find all the pictorial that reads, Dangote rejects monopoly, claims halts. Dangote rejects monopoly claims, halts investment in steel industry. NEL fund to disburse 37 billion naira student loan to 112,000 applicants this week. And then the final headline there, students fake abduction to resist UTME, says JAM. What an interesting headline there. Mr. Akin, which would you want to react to?
Let me go to just one aspect outside very, very quickly, the U.S. elections. I like to say with my hand to my chest that I'm proud of my president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, amongst other leaders, was quick enough to make the correct statements after alleged, real shooting, assassination, whatever it is. That statement was a clincher. It needs to go on in there. So whoever wins the election, I want to believe that at the end of the day, Nigeria as a non-aligned is well poised. The other aspects of the news about economy, it has to be about the economy. We are still tottering, we are still not there yet. That is Dangote. Dangote doesn't want to continue his investment plans. Monopolists, it's not a monopolist. I know we are going to get into all that, but we are in dire straits. The goose that is laying the golden egg, which is the oil and gas, that we have not found a way to effectively diversify over the years, will continue to haunt us. And all the numbers rigged up are showing red, in all matter particular. So I think we need to come back and begin to build, to rebuild, and rebuild Nigeria.
Building we shall, and unfortunately, I would have also loved to get your response to the student who faked an abduction to receipt UTME. One wonders, what kind of children are we raising now? We're having some forge their results, and they are supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow. What is happening truly in Nigeria? But anyway, in a minute.
Morality has gone down. So
down the drain.
They are copying from the masters.
That one is deep.
That's a low blow. Low blow. Oh, well, that's how we wrap up newspaper review. We will take a break. When we come back from that break, we'll be looking at the alleged high sulfur diesel Dangote offers to sell. Well, the allegation of high sulfur diesel from Dangote refineries, and Dangote also offering to sell the refinery for a specified amount. Well, let's talk about this conversation when we come back.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back. Now, Africa's wealthiest man, Aliko Dangote, has announced his willingness to transfer ownership of his multi-billion-dollar oil refinery to the state-owned NNPCL. Now, this statement comes amid a new dispute with a key equity partner and ongoing tensions with Nigerian regulatory authorities. The $19 billion refinery, capable of processing 650,000 barrels per day, began operations last year after a decade of construction. Well, initially estimated at less than half the final cost. The refinery aims to reduce Africa's largest oil producers' dependence on imported fuel and cut foreign exchange spending by 30%. Well, Dangote expressed that he has little personal need for the refinery, emphasizing his contributions to Nigeria's interests. His comments follow claims from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, accusing the Dangote Group of producing high sulfur diesel. Well, however, lab tests contradicted these claims. Well, I would dare say lab tests done within Dangote Refinery actually contradicted these claims, showing Dangote's diesel had significantly lower sulfur content than those of other local producers. Amid these controversies, Dangote has also decided to halt his investment in Nigeria's steel industry to avoid the accusations of monopoly. Oh well, we have with us in the studio Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is an economist and a public affairs commentator. We also have joining us virtually Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, an economic analyst as well. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. And why do you always join me with my big egbon anytime on your studio?
Because we like the back and forth that comes from it. Now,
what is that?
With the allegation, with everything being thrown up, one would say, is this in any way related to the fact that NNPCL has been unable to purchase the required shares in Dangote refineries? They were supposed to have over 20% of shares, but now they are left with 7.2%, having not been able to raise the monies needed. Is that why we're having this trade-off between Dangote refineries and NNPCL? Is there a link?
Well, you know, in local palace, they say when a child, is it when a winch happened and a child cried and the child died in the morning, they said it was a winch that made the child cry. They saw in the night or whatever that made the child to die in the morning. So for me, I think you cannot rule that because they are supposed to be critical keys holder in the refinery. And if you go back, why they said they wanted to be part and parcel of that refinery was because they said it's a critical project that they think it will not be nice for them not to be part of it. And at that time, they justify, you know, Nigerian complain about how do you invest such amount of money rather than building your own. So they justify it. Unfortunately, just on a couple of days, I think it's Dangote that broke that news that they just have 7.2% stake and they were not able to pay. But I think, by and large, I think the really problem there for me that I'm saying is because of there's a way we've been doing things over and over again. And when you come in there, you want to stop the way people that have been benefiting from that scheme. They will fight back. Like when you normally see in local palace, you say corruption will fight back. I think those that have benefited from importation of petroleum products into this country are trying to fight back. And who are those players? The NNPC. The NNPC have been the sole importer of petroleum products into Nigeria for the past 6 to 7 years. So who is going to benefit is the NNPC. They are now beginning to look at Dangote as a competitor that will stop them from bringing refined petroleum products into the country. Because if you look at the audited report of NNPC, all their gain seems to be from importation of petroleum refined petroleum products into the country. And so now that will stop. And so they are looking at that as one big hole on their purse, and I think they are trying to fight back in whichever way. For me, that I think is the key that is driving all this fight we are seeing. They are using the instrument of government. Remember also Dangote enjoyed so much in terms of effects from the CBN during the building of this refinery because of the critical state that they think this refinery it is to the Nigerian economy. So unfortunately, I think for me, the current administration, body language, the way they've been behaving shows that they are not really ready to partner with Dangote to end this current issue. Look, I was talking somewhere and I told a friend that your local company needs to be protected, especially a local company that is going to be a global player. That's what happened with Samsung. Samsung is always protected in South Korea, and today they are a global player all over the world. We are not saying that you should give him a monopoly of this thing. After all, there are other refineries that are coming up, and there are other local. We have Watersmith refinery that refine diesel. There are other local Boa refineries coming up. So while NNPC themselves said they are a private limited liability company, they are going to get Port Harcourt refinery working in December. They move it from December to January to April, from April to August. From August now they are telling us it's next year. That they are not saying now this is final. So they should stop playing games and allow us enjoy as a nation that produce crude. Because now, when you talk about the sulfur content, from what I gathered is because Dangote is not able to get sulfur, get crude.
Crude, yes.
Especially Nigerian crude is low in terms of sulfur quantity. It's one of the best. So it's importing some of this refined petroleum product outside. It's importing crude outside the shore of this country. That might be responsible for the high level of sulfur that they are saying it is in there. But the good news is that no Nigerian has complained that the diesel that I bought from Dangote have knocked my car, have knocked my generator.
It's not a one-off. It's something that takes
diesel for 1,900, and now we are buying for 1,200.
Well, it's something that takes time. It develops wear and tear on the engine when the sulfur content in diesel
continues
is
to
high.
damage the
Yes, That's an overtime kind of thing.
All right, so Mr. Mukhtar, thank you so much. I appreciate the fact that you broke this down and even linked the NNPC to this and the lack of political will, as it were, to get our refineries working. And that's exactly where I'm taking this from. Why do you think the love got lost between the NNPC and Dangote, as it were? Because if you looked at the structure of the NNPC, Mele Kyari remains the MD CEO of NNPC. He was when Dangote struck that deal with the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, and he still is the NNPC boss till date. But let me come to Mr. Yoegbo, Mr. Fatunke. When the MD CEO, rather the CEO of NMDPRA, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, spoke about this issue, he did say that Dangote wanted to have to channel everything about petroleum products to his refinery alone, stopping them from refining. My thought would be that, okay, that would have been a good thing because we're not going to refine. Why is the government persistent on continuous importation of petroleum products as against perhaps the willingness to want to have us produce from our country and lessen that burden of importation and the pressure on the dollar, on the naira?
Let me use philosophy to back myself and speak in wisdom on this analysis. And I will take my cue from William Shakespeare, Macbeth. When Macbeth made those profound statements, two truths are told as happy prologue to the swelling act of the imperial theme. So who is speaking the truth here? Who is not speaking the truth here? I am at a loss. I speak as somebody who has been in that industry, an industry that has been opaque, an industry that has been riddled with monumental corruption, and I say that with all due respect. Mukhtar tried to trace one or two things. The whole thing started where, I guess, from the previous APC, immediate past APC regime,
The Muhammadu Buhari's
all these shenanigans that we had in the place. We didn't have governance, we didn't have good audits, we were not sure if the books were being audited. We didn't also have an effective board. You will recall that certain people were appointed as a chairman of board and all that. That were red flags for anybody.
You mean into the NNPC board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But most of them haven't really changed. This administration even renewed some of their appointments.
No, they've changed. They've changed.
But Mele Kyari remains the boss.
The only Mele Kyari is just the managing director. Okay. And the point is, I'm talking of the board. The board is still being populated by politicians. And that still tells you that you want to face Kwara Namoda and you are going via Atlantic Ocean. You know, you are lost from the onset. Now, the reason why I say this is, let's just take one aspect before I make my final pronouncement, because I have a final pronouncement on this. They say the sulfur content in what Dangote is producing
Is diesel, yes.
is of lower quality.
Yes.
Who says that?
Below the West African standard.
Who says that?
The CEO of Nigerian Mainstream Midstream.
If I open my trout, it's not going to be, it's not going to augur well for you, for me.
What is the approved sulfur?
My point is, you've got to have a functional lab. Well, I've left the industry about 17 years, but 17 years ago, I happened to know that the NNPC and then DPR,
yes,
that is now the midstream,
yes,
that
the
you're talking about,
DPR now,
never had a functional lab.
They never
You
did.
will remember.
Then how have they been functioning?
Is that a surprise to you?
I'm worried. How have they been functioning?
You better get resolved. So let's leave it at your state of worry. When I tell you things have not worked in this country and that we have progressed backwards, I know what I'm saying. I was part of it. You remember at one point in time when we brought in contaminated fuel?
Absolutely. Yes. 2 years ago, 2022 precisely.
2 years ago? No, that didn't start 2 years ago. That was a repeat. I have been there, and I was there when they brought in, when the bad boys brought in bad fuel into this country. And then, of course, you always want to find somebody you are going to point an accusing
But nobody
finger
took the
at.
fall till today.
I was going to take the fall.
I'm wondering why nobody took
No,
the
seriously,
fall.
I was going to take the fall.
But the federal government should have held
go
somebody
back into the
responsible.
history. My company that I used to work for are now gone out of the place. It's ExxonMobil downstream. And then, of course, oh yeah, it's Mobil that brought in contaminated fuel because, under then called Moman, market leaders that bring in fuel, but 7, 8 of them, we shift. You bring it in, we all share from that last go. So it was our turn to first of all take. So we took the girl and then it went to our stations. And then the first kaput started. Oh yeah, it's no bubble. I said, hey, wait a minute. We took it to our lab. As at that time, the mobile lab in this country, and let it be controverted, either by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Bola Tinubu today, or anybody for that matter. Okay, so please, I don't want to call names. It was at our lab that it was discovered that all the claims that DPR was making, which is now similar to what I'm beginning to hear now, they didn't have a scientific lab to prove. But we were not only able to prove the fact that the fuel that was imported was the off spec, and so had all the negatives now. So let me now come to, I'll just stop at that.
No, please don't stop at that.
Are we learned our lessons?
How does a regulator operate without a laboratory?
How do you even import? How do you check imported products?
How does it work?
Is that a question for me?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
As a player in the industry,
I am a player in the industry. I'm not the referee.
you are not miffed at the fact that
I've just told you. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying on national television? Do you know how pain is being 17, 18 years ago, and that we have not learned anything? What are we talking about? Mr. Agakoba made a statement in the media. We need to recalibrate and restructure the whole of NNPC. NNPC is... I was virtually going to lose. Why do you think ExxonMobil is gone out of this country today? Because of issues surrounding. So, when they started, we quietly went to a lab, found out the wahala at the boardroom of DPR. They are still alive. They are still alive, so they can controvert me. To discover that, and we were pleaded with. So,
what did you discover?
we discovered that they brought in bad spec of oil, and they didn't have a means to test.
And nobody took
You
responsibility
just
of that.
They are the sole importers of fuel.
How could you take responsibility? Is it the first time that Nigeria is taking responsibility over such things that we are talking about? Have we learned our lessons? No, we have not learned our lessons. And so, what now happened was that, okay, if that is the case, all right, we found the truth. Let us now begin to do things the way they should be done. The business model, the planning business model that Dangote has instituted. Quite a number of us at that time were saying, be careful when you want to dine with the devil. This 20% equity that you are talking about, be very, very careful. Of course, strategically, it looks good. 20% will be able to send you the crude. Will my dear friend, 67-year-old Dangote, who I must confess, which is my big picture now, I sympathize with, irrespective of how you want to accuse him of monopoly, whatever it is. Others like him took their money out there, but he decided to build a refinery as big as the whole of Victoria Land, employed so many people. My point is, he should have smelt a rat. Why? The same government at that time were doing these deals, swap deals, and all that.
The direct sales directors, you mean?
And don't forget, Mr. Dangote and Mr. Kumar, I respect those people, I know them, and I know some of the things that they could have done, should have blown the whistle. Hey, wait a minute. This stuff that you are talking about, how is it going to happen? Supposing something goes wrong in the Niger Delta, or supposing Tantina now decides to Tintina us, is this not going to now have a direct negative effect? Where are your books? You don't go into that kind of business. Where are your books? Have the books been audited? Those books were not audited until, when I say audited, you know what I'm trying to talk about here. To now then come and say, hey, wait a minute. When eventually the jury came out, David, we have situations to say that Dangote Refinery has taken 20%. The books are showing that. But Dangote is coming at this stage now to say, no, it's not showing that. It's a whole wuru that we have had, unfortunately. Moses, why I like your question, and I can see something came out in your eyes. I say, are you not miffed? Are you not surprised? Am I not miffed? Am I not surprised that we have the whole retinue of the problems we have in security? Are we not miffed that we have the whole retinue of the problems we have in our educational sector? Now, many of these things have been going wrong. Having said that, my belief is that we should, like Uta said, don't let us throw away the baby with the bathwater. We have a situation that we have a national asset, and I want to speak directly, okay, to the gentleman from the regulatory agency who came out. Again, I have a problem because, you be careful. Be careful. Governance is such that you have got to have a spokesman. You should not be the very first. I said this to Governor Sanwo-Olu the other day when they had a problem at Magodo. He now went there and then they said the policeman said you should go. You should not be the first responder. That is not how it is done. When I saw him on TV talking about sulfur content, they've licensed, I just saw a mismatch. And I begin to see situations where, hey, Dangote, one of the boys that has been there, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, maybe it's one of the 40 Thieves, knew some of the things that he was saying that was going to be frustrated out. Right. I work with the IOC, and I can tell you for free, Moses, the refineries in Europe, all over, many of them are closing down. The ones that are functional, more than about 45% of their output ends in Nigeria. They say, here in Nigeria.
Are you saying it's because people are transitioning to
I am telling you that nobody is going to sit down, open his eyes, and then allow that to happen. That is neo-colonialism. What Nigeria needs to do, therefore, is simple. We've gotten it wrong. We can get it right here and now. If we have that political will, and one of those political will is one of the things I've just told you.
All right,
Mr. President cannot continue to be the Minister of
Petroleum.
And then unbundle the... Okay. Should I use the cabal? The cabal in NNPC.
Well,
NNPC needs to be...
It's been said that there's a high level of fuel bunkering.
Was CBN not unbundled one way or the other?
And
so if CBN could have been unbundled and we decide that, okay, look, we are going to restructure, we can restructure if we have the mind to do restructure.
Let's, David, please.
All right, I was going to come to Mr. Mukhtar on this, and I'm going to stay with you clearly. 45% of a particular refinery was accomplished and completed, and then the Buhari's administration commissioned it. My question, why was that refinery commissioned at that time? And then secondly, we go to the fact that right now it looks more like the love is beginning to dwindle between the government and the Dangote refinery, the Dangote man himself. Why do you think at this time Nigeria is not even looking ahead of taking our cash cow away from the petroleum sector and diversifying our economy as it stands? Because just like you heard Mr. Fatuke say, in the whole of Europe, They are pushing their product to Nigeria. And Nigeria doesn't seem like a country that would, in any time soon, change or move away from petroleum products. Why do you think all of this is happening?
The ones that we are the one everybody wants to drop the dumping ground for us. And so, like I said, if you listen to Dangote very well, you know that this is an international fight. It's just because it's not being driven by a local player, the NNPC. Like I said, you won't just want it to happen. That's where they've been getting their income all of a sudden, and that space will soon be a thing of the past. They don't want it to be like that. That is one. Secondly, you know how government is in Nigeria. Every government wants to take the glory. I think Buhari felt that with so much they have put in to bring the refinery to the stage that it was time for them to take the glory so that he would commission it himself. Remember, during that commissioning ceremony, Bola Tinubu was already the president-elect, but he was not even there to even witness it.
Right.
Yes.
Even if you look at the speech of Aliko Dangote that day, he acknowledged the contribution of Bola Tinubu when he was governor of Lagos State, when he gave them that land. And today Dangote is finally telling us that they didn't give me that land for free. I paid about $100 million. So when you look at the body language of Mr. President being the Minister for Petroleum, I don't think he should allow this thing to get to this messy stage, because I think they are using the NNPC, they are using the regulators, everybody. They are trying to come against Dangote for whatever reason. Today they said, oh, he wanted to do monopoly. Is it today that we have seen monopoly in any industry? Anybody that is the first player of an industry have the monopoly. So what do? Let others come and reject them licenses. Like I said, NNPC should be ashamed of themselves when they say Dangote is monopolizing, they want to monopolize the petroleum sector, because they have 4 refineries scattered around the shore of this country. They have all the pipeline that leads all this refinery, all this petroleum product that Dangote doesn't even have such facility. At a point, part of the MOU between Dangote and NNPC was for Dangote to even be using some of these pipelines that NNPC have not been using to channel fuel to its refinery. So you look, when you see the whole idea that is happening here, I can tell you, is because there's a new chef in town, and the new chef in town boys were not part of the deal of Dangote. They want to be part of the deal. That's the only thing I can say. They want to be part of the deal. Dangote knows the underlying issue. It cannot come publicly to say it. Those in government know the underlying issue. They cannot come publicly to say it. In your opinion, what do you think the underlying issue is? How much you have put in a refinery? Is it our efforts today? The FS challenge that we are facing today was as a result of the kind of effect the then CBN governor was giving to Dangote Refinery to make sure that refinery come on stream at a premium. Why can't we sit down with Dangote and say, look, we did this for you, we did this for you. It's not time for you. We have an FX problem. Your refinery can generate X amount of FX to us. How do we not sit down so that you can be pushing this liquidity to the CBN so that we can stabilize our currency? Why are we always playing politics with our economy and our security?
Why is it that Mr. Mukhtar, something you said really caught me, when you talked about the refineries and all that function. And I did remember that even the Kaduna refinery was not calibrated to refine the Nigerian crude, because of its nature. How possible is it that a country will build a refinery that they know that their oil cannot be refined in that country? And it's been like that over time. Then what is the essence of having a refinery in the first place? What is really going on with the petroleum industry?
Precious.
Sir?
That is a Nigerian problem. The new international airport, the new international airport, the one that we call MM2 International Airport,
yes,
cannot take a 747, and it was built as a modern airport. So when you go to that airport, you check in through the new airport, but you take off through the old terminal airport, the normal Murtala airport, because bigger plane cannot land on the smaller airport. It was designed and approved by somebody. So it's not today that we have been cutting corners. Whatever is happening to our economy today was the sin that we committed yesterday.
It's interesting you mentioned, Mr. Mokhtar, I'm going to stay with you. It's interesting you mentioned that it's not negotiable that we cut corners. Now, my question will be very simple. At this point, you just mentioned that there is a new sheriff in town. Does that simply mean that we would be having a major risk if this sheriff cannot hands off the petroleum industry as the minister? Or is there any way we can go about this thing to making sure that Nigeria gets better from here on? Because we keep talking about the troubles. We can talk about the solutions as well. Is there any potential risk that the president, who is the minister of petroleum at this time, would take his hand off the petroleum industry?
The unfortunate thing is that the new sheriff in town used to work in the petroleum industry. He was an accountant in Mobi years ago. So I expected that he knows what the problem in the oil industry is. And his junior brother is a key player in the oil industry. He has a lot of advisors that in the oil industry. He knows what he's doing. They know what they are doing. That's all I can say.
Right,
they know how to negotiate their way out of this. It's all about Dangote not ready to play ball.
All right. Okay,
that is why we are having all the challenges we're having. I can tell you, like Mike Bond said in the studio, till this moment, NNPC books, their audited report, have not told us that they put it in the that they are investing $20 billion in Dangote Refinery. And their audited report have not told us that that 20 billion was not met. They are still saying they have 20% stake. It's only Dangote that came up to tell us that it is 7.3%. But their audited report, their last audited financial report told us that they're having 20% stake and a particular amount has been paid. These are what the president should be investigating, not just sitting and pretending that they let the fight continue. He will not win this battle because Nigerians are not happy. Nigerians are suffering.
Well, we're running out of time, but we'll have your concluding thoughts in a minute. But as you make to conclude, we have Dangote now saying on television that he would hands off his planned investment in the steel sector. Nigeria has been unable to make good use of Ajaokuta Steel, revive Ajaokuta Steel. And we have somebody who was thinking about investing in that sector, but because of the talk of monopoly, has decided to hands off. Now, what do you think will happen if, as ExxonMobil left, Dangote Refinery maybe picks his bags and leaves as well? What do you think will happen to Nigeria's economy? Can you lump it together?
ExxonMobil is virtually left.
Not just Exxon. You have some other. Chevron, it's on the discussion. Shell, of course, you know what happened to Shell. So
can you respond in about a minute?
Can I also? So my response will be the fact who was asking that question, that why are we doing this and all that. He gave an example of MMA. Have you seen our railway stuff that we've done? Kudos. But when you go out there, has it been completed in a way? Do you have, when you are going on the road, you have gates that does here and there? We are not serious. We are riddled with corruption, and corruption has eaten deep. And let me also say, have you heard of a place called Kolomani Refinery?
Yes.
During Buhari's time?
Yes.
In the north.
Well.
Because you were asking the question that a particular refinery in Kaduna and all that, because everything that we want to do is going to have to be politics, and because we want to equalize. So, way out, simple. One, I mentioned it. Mukta said that Bola Tinubu was in...
Your press for time.
Yes.
In oil and gas. I foresee a situation. I will be hard-pressed to understand that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will allow that investment to go to waste. I have a feel that he's going to step in. I also have a feel that NNPC are making their points. Some people are saying it's the hand of Esau and voice of Jacob. I do not believe that a functional government will allow this to continue to fester. I also think that Mr. President, like we did in the minimum wage,
will chime into the matter.
Stand up, face Nigerians, call Dangote back, and I pray, because we're talking of oil and a lot of the things that we are going to lose, you cannot quantify them.
Your response
and
right now.
My final word: Dangote as a human being must not be killed. Dangote as a human being must not have a stroke.
But I don't think
irrespective of the fact that they say he's enjoyed some monopoly
I
in the
have
past.
made this last statement that I am making is so very, very, very important, and the only way is to get Dangote back on stream and do what it needs to do.
Thank you to you, Mr. Akin.
All right.
Let's get final thoughts on this one, Mukhtar.
Mr. President is the Minister for Petroleum. He should do the needful. We need to get our petroleum industry just like what Aramco is doing in Saudi Arabia. We need to get this sector is our cash cow. We must not allow politics to kill one of the greatest investments that is about to be a game changer, not only in dealing with inflationary pressure, but also bringing stability to our exchange rate, attracting more investment in that sector, and giving us effects. Mr. President, the ball is in his court.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. Always a pleasure to be with you all the time. Thank you so much for obliging us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have to let you go now, and we'll dive into another conversation.
Absolutely. Coming up next, Peter Obi's team reveals shocking plan for Tinubu to arrest Obi ahead of August 1 protest. That will be after the break. We'll be right back.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
You're welcome back. It's still VOP this morning on Voice of the People television. Now, the Peter Obi media reach has dismissed allegations by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga that Peter Obi, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, is involved in planning a protest. The media office labeled these accusations as unfounded and suggested they are part of a scheme by the presidency to detain Obi, that is, Peter Obi. You may recall that in a statement on Saturday, Onanuga alleged that Obi's supporters are organizing nationwide protests against the Tinubu administration and warned that Obi and his followers will be held accountable for any unrest. Now, the Peter Obi media reach, through spokesman Yunusa Tanko, countered these claims, stating that the allegations are baseless and intended to curb Obi's advocacy for good governance. Tanko emphasized that Obi has consistently maintained a stance against violence, even under provocation. Joining us in this conversation is Barrister Eze Eluchie. Of course, is the barrister of the law, and of course, with the feather of a political analyst right now on the conversation. We still have Mr. Akin Fatunke in the building. Barrister Eze Eluchie, I don't know if you're still there. Can you hear us? Barrister Eze Eluchie, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to be with you, sir. Now, there are lots of people linked to this protest. One of the presidential candidates, whom we have noticed also speak about this protest is, Omoyole Sowore. Why would you think the presidency would rather finger Peter Obi in this oncoming protest, if it ever happens, instead of likes of Sowore and others who have come out to also speak about the protest personally?
Well, I don't think the Bola Tinubu regime will descend so low to begin to allege that the person who is actually making this noise is the fellow called Bayo Onanuga.
He speaks for the president, sir.
On several occasions, he has blabbed out of point and has had to be corrected by the president's main spokesperson, which is Ngelale. Bayo Onanuga has severally tried to raise ethnic and religious
Can you please remove your earpiece, because we seem to be having a problem with the quality of the sound.
Can you help us take off your earpiece? If you can,
please, can you unplug the earpiece and let's speak directly into your device.
Is it okay now?
Fantastic.
Yes,
it's better. Thank you so much. So kindly help us recap what you said from the beginning.
Okay, now what I'm trying to say is that I don't think the Bola Tinubu regime will descend so low as to begin to allege that Mr. Peter Obi is part of this popular movement or popular demonstration. The person who is making this noise is Bayo Onanuga, and on several occasions, he has been corrected even by the official spokesperson of the government, which is Mr. Ngelale. So now that he's blabbing on this issue, Bayo Onanuga has severally tried to raise ethnocentric and even religious divides in the country. Maybe that is his job or his brief as an attack dog. And unfortunately, continue to maintain such a character in his government as an advisor or whatever, puts to question the intent, the purpose to which the Bola Tinubu regime actually wants to govern this country. Is Bola Tinubu trying to stoke up ethnic sentiments to create more divides in this country? The issue of this protest is a popular protest, and it cuts across divides, ethnic, religious, and whatever divides. The price of foodstuffs in markets across the country, be it in Konowa, in Imo State, in Oyibo, in Lagos, Dugbe, in Ibadan, Sabongari, in Kano, people are complaining. People are no longer able to feed themselves or even their families. So this protest is a natural reaction to people's inability to make ends meet. So rather than send out attack dogs like Bayo Onanuga to go and make noise against innocent citizens, the government should rather look into itself, try to correct wrongs, and see how it can alleviate the poverty, the excruciating lack that is now afflicting Nigerians, and not send attack dogs to make noise.
Thank you. Thank you, Barrister Ziluchi. I'll come to you now, Mr. Akifatunke. The National Orientation Agency, through its MD, had said that they know the people who are responsible for this protest and that they want to make the country unrest, just like Mr. Barrister Ziluchi had said. The purpose of this protest is basically because of the inflation rate. People are very hungry, and this hunger cuts across tribe and religion. People cannot buy some things. Yam has become, a very expensive commodity now, where you cannot get one tuber less than 5,000 naira.
7,000.
How many families can afford this? Would you think, or would you say that this administration has done enough in at least controlling prices or helping the economy, as much as they are trying to ensure that this protest or any protest against them doesn't take place?
Thank you very much. I climb on the back of my barrister Eze. When it comes to stuff like this, let's untangle and let's go to the brass tacks. You asked me a question that there is inflation. It's not just inflation, it's galloping inflation. There is a lot of poverty in the land. There are policies that have been introduced that have not been properly managed. No doubt about that. And we have a revenue issue. We have productivity issue. Nigeria is not earning. We ate our cake yesterday, and we are thinking of baking tomorrow. It's not going to happen.
And is the government acting like we have these difficulties in terms of their own expenses? That's another question.
So, You're not going there.
Okay.
You're not getting there.
Okay.
And so how has this happened? This has happened because the federal government, the state governments, and virtually non-existent local governments are there. And then in between that, you have the sausage and the jam, the National Assembly. We haven't seen exemplary conduct and exemplary leadership. We have had to do what you call budgets and supplementary budgets. And we are buying yachts, we are buying SUVs.
And we're still running the last 2 budgets for last year.
And we are still talking about the fact that, we are not being led by example. Everybody is complaining. Even people in the APC ruling party are also complaining. So we've had all that. Now, come back to this
allegations.
Strike?
Yes, protest.
Protest, excuse me.
Please.
Okay, well, we'll start with strike. And then we're not talking about protest. Because the Nigerian populace are saying that it is only by force that you can get what is due to you. You get them to begin to listen. And if that is the case, and Mr. Peter Obi has consistently been talking about some of the things you and I are speaking, to go out there now and then say Mr. Peter Obi is the one behind, maybe his supporters also making a lot of noise. People who are not of the obedient movement are also making a lot of noise. Right. I think, like the barrister has said, is an overreach. Now, I will also have to say this to balance my analysis. So if we are going to be having protests, which is a legitimate right of Nigerians, please, you know where to protest. You know where some of these shoes that we are wearing are pinching. Don't let us continually, I don't have a problem, continue to face the center. What about the states? So the protest, I presume, is going to be in PDP states, it's going to be in APC states, it's going to be Labour states, it's going to be NNPP states.
We all buy from the same market, irrespective of the leadership of our state.
So the coloration must be clear that all governance in Nigeria has not been, what do you call it now? Of course, can't be utopian, has not been very effective. And being power means we are hungry. We need to do electricity or what have you.
To pause you here.
Go ahead.
Let's look at. Unfortunately, we don't have the picture of a young man, Junaidu Abdul Samad, nicknamed Abul Sawa, who was picked up, I think on Friday or thereabout. Was picked up on Friday. He's a TikToker, popular TikToker in Kano State, resident in Kano State, who was picked up for allegedly inciting, calling for protest. He has been behind bars since then. Now, let's also take this video from 2012 when the president, now president, was at a rally calling on Nigerians to protest, take back their country, because their monies are being taken away and used by those in power. And those in power at the time was Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Let's listen to the president.
That one. That is what they are doing with your money. Not enough that they are stealing from our children tomorrow for lack of investment in education. They are still embezzling the retirement benefit of hardworking Nigeria, including our grandfathers. They are stealing the port, the treasury, not even leaving some coins for us to war with. Let them be out now. But they will forget the other one.
question from there. Let them be out now, speaking to the government of the day. And now we have Mr. Bayo Ononuga asking for a governance change is treason. Oh, well, let me come back
Even
to...
he, Bayo, apologies for taking you on that. Even he, Bayo, supported that protest. There were tweets that showed that he supported and encouraged the protest at that time.
Of course, but let me come to you now, Barrister Eze. Good morning once again. How do you react to this juxtaposition now of Mr. Tinubu's comments with what we are seeing Nigerians call for now? And we also do know that in the past, a few years back, we had a Nigerian call for a revolution. Well, he has since been pardoned. But here Nigerians are calling for Revolution 2024, calling for putting an end to bad governance. How is this treasonable?
Thank you very much. And thank you for that journalistic feat of producing that video where Mr. Tinubu was calling for a change of government via unconstitutional means. But these protests are not going that far. These protests or demonstrations which are planned are within constitutional limits, where those who are planning the protest say they will be peaceful, and they are trying to urge people to come out and protest against bad government. Now, let the Bola Tinubu regime be warned. It is a constitutional right to protest. The law enforcement agencies are supposed to guide and protect Nigerians who are legitimately protesting. When the government begins to threaten violence, to threaten that police will shoot and do whatever, then that government should have become unconstitutional. We urge that the Bola Tinubu regime should stick within the limits of constitution. In that video which you just broadcast, Bola Tinubu was making alluding to the government of the day then having stolen the immediate funds of Nigerians and the children. The Bola Tinubu regime is stealing the monies of our grand and great-grandchildren. The Bola Tinubu regime is now trying to steal even our own monies. Those who have, they are not telling the banks that the banks must send whatever amounts are in dormant account to the central bank, which is stealing. Because if you drop your deposits in a bank, that is where it should be. So the Bola Tinubu is doing far, far worse than any other regime has ever done in this country. The Bola Tinubu regime is asking Nigerians to tighten their belts while they are loosening their own, creating new ministries, like the Ministry of Livestock. I mean, the Bola Tinubu regime has exceeded all known bounds of normality and reasonableness. So the very least Nigerians can do is to come out and express their angst with the system by demonstrating and protesting, which is, like I said earlier, a civil and constitutional right of Nigerians. But those protests and demonstrations, I must say, will be peaceful and have to be within the bounds of peaceful protest. Now, with regards to where they occur, your guest in the studio had said it should occur in all the states and wheresoever. Nigerians are not blind to the reality that though we operate a federal system officially, supposed to be a federal system, we operate what is virtually a unitary system of government with all the powers centered in the center. So it is natural that people will gravitate towards protesting at the center. But then, like I said earlier from my initial comments here, the hunger is across the land. So definitely, Nigerians will protest all over the country because the hunger is palpable. If you walk in the street, you see the anger on the faces of Nigerians. When your children are going to sleep hungry, you cannot but be unhappy with yourself. And when you are walking, you are doing all you can do. But the system is such that it diminishes your humanity, it pauperizes you. You have to protest.
Barrister, allow me to butt in at this point. Allow me to interrupt your train of thoughts now. How do we guarantee peaceful protest when in the past we've heard protests being hijacked? We've seen people come in and distort the arrangement of peaceful protesters. And let's not deny or let's not shy away from the fact that very recently also, some of those individuals who were captured in pictures during the NSAS protests, brandishing machetes and all, have been seen to be hobnobbing with certain individuals who are actually in government today. How do we now speak to the talk about hijacking? Now, let's not forget that the allegations against Mr. Peter Obi is that he should bear the brunt of whatever crisis will come from the protest. How do you react to that?
Because they are led by his supporters, right?
Because they are allegedly led by his supporters.
Pictures of those who come in to disturb peaceful protests being chauffeured into the protest by government vehicles. We have seen videos, evidences of this happening in Abuja, in Lagos, even in Owerri. We have seen the government deliberately trying to scuttle what is peaceful protest. So that is what the government should guarantee us. The government should guarantee the people of Nigeria that they will not, like they've been doing before, try to bring in thugs, whether in police uniforms or whatsoever, to create divides among people. Like comments being made by Bayo Onanuga, for instance, shows the mindset of government, that they may want to scuttle or to create divides or to ethnicize the protest or make it more of a religious issue. But the reality is that Nigerians know that we are beyond that, and we show that by doing the voting.
But just to get you clearly, are you accusing the government of being responsible for the same hijack that they fear of protests?
What I'm saying is facts on ground, video evidence shows that on several occasions in protest in several cities of Nigeria, Abuja, Lagos, Owerri, and several other places, government agencies, government vehicles have been used to try to chauffeur in thugs with machetes into the midst of rioters. And also, government security agencies have shot tear gas and bullets into protests, which tends to exacerbate the issue and make the crowd become violent. Once government avoids doing these things, these protests will move on, maybe drop their request and disappear. With regards to trying to lump everything on Mr. Peter Obi, it is just being pedestrian. Like the government will always try to create divides, say it's Igbo affair, it's Yoruba affair, it's Muslim or Christian. All that is errant bull, errant nonsense.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned this. And
it's errant nonsense.
I'm going to quickly say this, and I'm going to ask this question as well. Now, this allegation, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Hakim. These allegations, do you believe that it's going to impact the advocacy for good governance in Nigeria? Because we see it happen in other clients, particularly in Kenya. A few days ago, the president of Kenya, Mr. Ruto, did lay down all of his ministers. Are we going to see any level of maybe impactful governance as a result of this?
Is that to me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. First of all, I want to dissociate myself with comments that are incendiary. I do not want to be calling somebody a thief and all that. Yes, there are thieves. There are politicians, and they are spread all over. And it does not matter if you are obedient, you are APC, you are NPC. So, I also want to make this statement concerning the video you played. Super. Whatever comes around, turns around, and it's going to have to meet you. So it's comeuppance for Mr. President Bola Tinubu. If he wanted that to happen then, I'll be surprised that he meant that to the central government alone. He was talking about all politicians at all levels. And when PDP was holding space, they have a way of trying to do what we need to do. And I'll come to your question. I was taught that discretion is the better part of valor. And the barrister Eze has spoken about government to, sponsoring drugs. It's true, and it will be true.
So you agree with him?
I am not necessarily agreeing with him, but I happen to know that government will not have sponsored talk and then will have gone to Yaba left to go and do all the things that they did in Yaba left, to go to the citadel of what do you call it now, of Adigoshere, to go and burn down the place. They will not have gone to the police station to take policemen, kill them, and all that. So, discretion is the better part of valor. Do I feel? Okay, so finally, I agree with Barrister Eze. It's puerile to now be pointing the finger at Peter Obi. Peter Obi is not the one that we should be pointing fingers at. The finger that you are pointing at Peter Obi, 4 are pointing at you. We need to get back to good governance at all levels. I also know, as a matter of fact, some people call it palliative, some people call it, attempts are being made. They are little. They are not getting to the root and bottom in terms of a few reforms to try and see how they douse some of these pains. But time now is for government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to roll his sleeves, to make it all inclusive. Because part of the problem we still have in Nigeria, if Mr. Peter, I keep on saying this, if Mr. Peter Obi were to have won that election, or if Kwankwaso has won that election, the problems will not disappear.
Wouldn't there have been some holistic measures that they would have taken that this present administration is not taking?
Perhaps a different approach.
Like a different approach, yes.
Yes, the different approach. It's like asking me that, you go and plant corn yesterday, by today, there won't be hunger anymore. You see, I think it's an issue of trust. We must collectively get together. One of the key sore points that is still sticking out, and I keep on saying it in all my public conversations, a few low-hanging fruit. I mentioned oil and gas industry. I also mentioned the issue surrounding Nnamdi Kanu.
But Mr. Fatunke, apologies for cutting you. One of the major concerns of people is not just the fact that hunger persists. It's the fact that the government seems to be doing little or nothing.
Let me land. It is not true that nothing is being done. Okay. One. It is also very true that we are focusing too much at the center. The Nigerian democracy is not working. We have a constitution that is not working. And we have fifth lots in all the states.
But the government themselves managing, that's the thing. Are they managing?
So my point is, if you tell me Bola Tinubu, yes, I don't have a problem. He is the chief samurai, but he has other samurais that we should also be looking at, including the National Assembly. We must recalibrate and rechange. What happened, was it you or was it, I think it was Moses, I was talking about the NSAS, and it's the reason why I said, yes, protest, but let your protest be such that ordinary citizens who don't want to participate in this protest have a freedom to be able to work, and then you are not going to.
Given 30 seconds each.
Okay.
And
all right.
Please abide by the 30 seconds. Your concluding thoughts in 30 seconds.
My first second is all the things I've said, I stand by them. Okay. Second, please, can we have a holistic review of Nigeria? Nigeria is not working. We all know Nigeria is not working. And irrespective of whoever comes, I think I've used the 15 seconds now.
Already.
And then finally, Nigeria has to take a holistic rebirth.
All right.
It's Bola Tinubu, it's the states, governors, it's the National Assembly,
Thank you very
it's
much,
the state assemblies that we need to recalibrate for good governance.
For your time and your
always.
Thank you very much for coming.
Have I taken my 30 seconds?
Yes, you have.
I've taken the first seconds. I will give Eze my 5 seconds.
Please, let's have your concluding thoughts in 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you very much. I think the bottom line is the government of the Federation should allow Nigerians to exercise their constitutional rights, and it should be peaceful, and it should get to its end. The government should rather look inwards and try to correct its wrongs, right its wrongs, lead and not rule, and be empathize with Nigerians. And once that is done, what Nigerians want is just simply good governance.
All right, then.
Efforts to backmate the country by trying to allege ethnic or religious connotations to these protests will only deepen the angst, and Nigerians will certainly prove themselves that this is our country. We're not going any other place. And
all right,
nobody
thank
in
you.
government
Thank you
can
very
stop
much. We
Nigerians from
appreciate
exercising
you,
their fundamental rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
once again,
Barrister
Barrister Eze Eluchie. Thank you for coming on the program. And big thanks once again to Mr. Akin Fatunke.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
All right,
so
so
much.
we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll delve into other aspects of the show: business, entertainment, and sports. Coming up shortly. Stay with us.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Tuesday from 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
All right, welcome back. Now let's get into the world of business. The central bank digital currency, known as the e-Naira, makes up less than 1% of the total currency in circulation as of March 2024. Launched in October 2021 to promote financial inclusion, the e-Naira has reached 13.98 billion naira out of 3.87 trillion naira in circulation. Now this translates to 0.36% of the currency being in the digital form. Despite its low percentage in circulation, the e-Naira has seen a significant surge in availability, increasing by 1,896% from 700.75 million naira in October 2021. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria has made efforts to increase adoption, including the launch of the e-Naira Speed Wallet app and a USSD code for those without smartphones. The CBN has partnered with various banks, fintech companies, and merchants to enhance the usage of the e-Naira. Incentives such as waived transaction fees until 2023 and guidelines for anti-money laundering measures have been implemented. However, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has noted slow growth in e-Naira wallet downloads among retail users, indicating challenges. Well, that's the business story we have for you at this moment. More business stories will come at 10 o'clock during the Business Hour show. We'll take a break now. When we come back, it will be entertainment stories. Stick around.
You're welcome back. It's still VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. Now straight to entertainment in a remarkable display of artistic prowess and national pride. Nigerian doctor and visual artist Dr. Fola David has set a new Guinness World Record for the largest individual painting. Now, the monumental artwork titled Unity in Diversity spans over 689 square meters and aims to reach an outstanding 1,000 square meters. This extraordinary achievement has garnered widespread support from notable figures, including former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, celebrated chef Hilda Basi, I beg your pardon, King of Steez, Farouk Uragba, of course, that's, remember King of Steez in the just celebrated Ojudoba Festival. Now, Dr. David's painting, which vividly depicts diverse ethnic groups of Nigeria through their unique attire, languages, and artistic expressions, has captivated the hearts of many. We're wishing him all the best. Nigerians have been rooting for him because he's beaten the former world champion, as it were, the world record, which held at 629.98 square meters. We do hope that he gets to his 1,000 square meters. That was held by an Indian, Ravi Soni. Right. So moving on to the next entertainment topic, very quickly. Popular American singer Sean Kingston, this feared me the most, and his mother, Janice Turner, have been indicted on federal charges related to a $1 million fraud scheme. This indictment, as it were, handed down by a grand jury in South Florida, accuses the duo of orchestrating an elaborate scheme to defraud multiple victims. Over several months, Sean Kingston and his mother allegedly engaged in a series of fraudulent activities that included grand theft, identity theft, and conducting an organized scheme to defraud people. This is so heartbreaking. If you remember Sean Kingston, you remember, you're so beautiful, girl. Yeah. I was so heartbroken. I don't know if you saw the video of him and his mom during the arrest and all that. It was very heartbroken. When you have somebody whom you idolized or probably looks forward to get involved in such crime, it's disappointing to say the least.
Yes, it is. Very, very disappointing.
So what's your take on our next world record champion, as it were?
Oh, yes. It's
the fact that he's a medical doctor, really.
And a painter, too.
Yeah.
Well, it's encouraging that Nigerians are going out to break records, regardless of what is being faced in Nigeria.
Right.
That's another Guinness World Record.
It's interesting. Just some few days ago, we had another Nigerian break a record of being playing the highest hours of game.
Oh,
that's
yes.
about 75 hours playing game.
You see, what Nigerians cannot do cannot be done. That's work, I see.
These are good records. I know after Hilda Basi broke that record at the Cookathon, some Nigerians came up with crying record.
It became a Guinness World Record marathon for Nigerians.
This one is a good one, and we are rooting for the doctor as he goes ahead to break this record.
And that's it on entertainment. But let's quickly go to some comments on our YouTube and see what people have been seeing and responses or reactions to some of the shows on YouTube. We've had quite a couple of responses on YouTube as to what's going on in the show this morning. Perhaps we'll take that immediately after sports with David.
All right, let's just take that tiny little break and then we'll come back to sports. right, welcome back. Let's just quickly talk some sports. Well, the Super Falcons of Nigeria have unveiled their official squad numbers for the 2024 Olympic Games, marking their return to the event after a 16-year run. Star goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie will wear the jersey number 16, while forward Asisatu Shala retains her iconic number 8 jersey. Midfielder Christy Ucheibe and, of course, Captain Rasheedat Ajibade will be donning the numbers 10 and 15 respectively, and veteran defender Osinachi Ohale will be sticking with her jersey number 3. Well, Nigeria kicks off their campaign against Brazil on July the 25th at Stade Bordeaux, followed by matches against Spain, and of course that will be in July the 28th, and of course Japan on July the 31st, both at Stade de la Beaujour in Nantes. Well, moving on, yesterday, well, I think, was it yesterday? Some days back, as I beg your pardon, Tobi Amusa, the Nigeria's 100 meters hurdle world record holder, finished second at the pre-Olympics race in Florida on July the 20th, clocking a time of 12.60 seconds. The race was won by the U.S. Grace Stark, who finished with a time of 12.58 seconds. Well, despite a slow start, Amusa quickly recovered and increased her speed, clearing the hurdles at the Mike Holloway Pro Classic to secure second place. Well, of course, earlier in the heat, Amusa clocked a time of 12.49 seconds ahead of U.S. champion Masai Russell. Well, we hope that Amusa going to the Olympic will be doing Nigeria super proud, and we cannot wait to have her make the podium. That's about it for sports. We would urge you to come join us 11 a.m. West African time on the sports program Sports Republic, where we give you all of this and even more on that particular program. Well, like was Duke said earlier, let's get those comments from YouTube. And yes, okay, this is coming from Oladewale, and he said, good morning, Mr. Moses, Mr. David. Well, of course, I think he only mixed it up. Fina is here, well, in essential, and a guest. He also said, is Nigeria facing a job at Badue? But why are they moving from pillar to post, he means. Of course, he also said, ask your guest if Section 69 of the Constitution to yank them out. Is Olegba real? Well, those are Yoruba language.
What does that mean, though? Olegba?
A thief steals it, a thief runs away with it. Yeah, something. Yeah.
Sad. Very sad.
Okay, then the final comment there. Madam Minister for Women Affairs, please tell us more about the World Bank 40% Egunje. Well, we're excited about the fact that Ola Adewale consistently keeps his comment coming all the way from Atlanta in the U.S. We want to say thank you for always being a part of this conversation. Well, we got to go. From my end, I'm just going to say do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. Don't forget, Nigeria is a great country, and don't always stop praying for it. Have a great day ahead. God bless Nigeria.
My name is Precious Enyu. Thanking you for joining us on the show today. Do stay tuned for other interesting programs that we have built for you. And to the federal government of Nigeria, the APC-led administration, Nigerians are not protesting because of party differences. They are protesting because they are genuinely hungry. People cannot afford medications. People cannot feed their children. Students have dropped out of school. This poses a great danger to our country. Do something about it, and Nigeria will be great again. Thank you.
All right, how do you beat a child and tell the child not to cry? That will be wicked. And that seems to be what the government is doing. Nigerians have been crying, Ebin Bawa, we are hungry. We want something done. And you're asking people not to protest. Wouldn't that be inhumane? Oh, well, government, do the needful. Protect Nigerians. Protect those that come out to peacefully protest and ensure that nobody hijacks that protest. Now, that onus is on the government and the police in particular to ensure that Nigerians are protected at all costs. I'm Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.